Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. All right, our lesson is how do you say to tend to do something, to usually do something, and sometimes people will use it just for the imperfect usage of used to do something. But essentially, we're talking about how do you say to tend to do something or to usually do something. The verb is the verb soler. It is an ODUE stem changing verb in verb number 3, the present tense. You see it here. Suelo, suele, suele, solemos, suelen. And in case you're interested in the vosotros form, it is soles over here. Soles would come after solemos. Suelo, suele, suele, solemos, soles, suelen. Means I tend to, you tend to, he, she, it, usted tend to, right? The verb soler. In the imperfect, it's just a regular verb. You add the ia ending. Solía, 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 solíamos, and solían. The vosotros imperfect is solíais over here. Solíais. Now, let's use some examples. Acostarse is to go to bed. Despertarse, to lie down, to go to bed. Dual meaning. Despertarse is to wake up. Llegar, to arrive. Tomar una ducha is to take a shower. Tomar agua, to drink water. Ir a la iglesia, to go to church. Ver las noticias, to watch the news. Leer un libro, to read a book. And tomar una siesta, to take a nap. Nothing special about the vocabulary. But remember, the focus of the lesson is to be able to say that you tend or tended to do something, right? And the way we do it is with the verb soler, either suelo, sueles, or solía, solías, etc. Let's look at some examples. Acostarse. I tend to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Suelo acostarme a las 10 de la noche. They tend to wake up at 7 a.m. Ellos suelen despertarse a las 7 de la mañana. If you want to put it in the past tense, like when I was in elementary school, I tended to go to bed, or I usually went to bed at 8 o'clock. Cuando estaba en la escuela primaria, yo solía acostarme a las 8 o a las 7:30. Llegar. She tends to arrive late. She usually arrives late. Suele llegar tarde. This is a great verb, but we only use it in the present and the imperfect, not in the preterite, not in the future, and not the conditional. Let's go with tomar una ducha. My sister tends to take a shower in the morning. Mi hermana suele tomar una ducha en la mañana. Yo suelo tomar una ducha en la noche. Tomar agua. Before practicing sports, I always drink water. Antes de practicar un deporte, yo siempre suelo tomar agua. Before practicing sports, I always tend to drink water, or I always usually drink water. Antes de practicar un deporte, yo siempre suelo tomar agua. Ir a la iglesia. They used to go to church on Saturdays. Ellos solían ir a la iglesia los sábados. We tend to go to church on Sundays. Nosotros solemos ir a la iglesia los domingos. Ver las noticias. I tend to watch the news in the afternoon. Yo suelo ver las noticias en la tarde or por la tarde. I tended, or I usually watched news in the afternoon. Solía ver las noticias por la tarde. Leer un libro. When it's raining, my dad tends to read a book. Cuando está lloviendo, mi papá suele leer un libro. When I'm tired, I tend to go to bed early. Cuando tengo sueño, suelo acostarme temprano. Or cuando estoy cansado, suelo acostarme temprano. Tomar una siesta. My grandpa usually took a nap in the afternoon. Mi abuelo solía tomar una siesta por la tarde. My brother tends to take a nap every day. Mi hermano suele tomar una siesta todos los días. So to say what you tend to do, it's suelo and all the other forms of the present tense. To say what you tended to do, it's solía in all the other forms. To say what you usually do, it's suelo. To say what you usually did, that would be solía. I usually ate ice cream on the weekends. Yo solía comer helado solo durante los fines de semana. So it's a very simple lesson. Soler, it's not very commonly used, but it's out there. I used to tell my kids in class it's an AP verb. In other words, for the AP exam, advanced placement, when they would write their composition or speak, I would teach them how to incorporate a verb like soler because it's a high level soler. It's a low frequency verb, and so to use something low frequency is pretty impressive, especially as a teenager on a national advanced placement Spanish exam. So that's the verb soler, nothing special about it. Very restricted usage, the present and the imperfect. It's a O to UE stem change in the present tense. It's a straight imperfect in the, straight ia, ias, ia in the imperfect. And these were some examples over here, okay? Soler. For example, Pablo tends to do a video every other day. Pablo suele hacer un video cada otro día. Football players tend to play once a week. Los jugadores de fútbol suelen jugar una vez a la semana. So you can create a ton of examples with what someone tends to do or tended to do or what someone usually does or usually did, right? That's it, the verb soler. Okay, es todo por ahora. Tengan ustedes un gran día, ¿verdad? Puede ser un día de la semana, puede ser un día del fin de semana, o puede ser un día festivo, un día de cumpleaños, un día de fiesta, quién sabe qué. Sea el día que sea, tengan un gran día. Gracias, con mucho cariño, besitos y abrazos. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Gracias. Bye-bye.